Pack-a-Punch, that thing we've been doing to all sorts of Terraria weapons for our current playthrough, which can be used to buff stats like damage, fire rate, and mana used for a monetary cost. Now, with us previously overcoming early hard mode struggles, using the upgraded Sky Fracture to defeat Duke early, and completely breaking progression with our busted Avalanche Typhoon, things were really looking up. However, although the end seemed near at this point, there were still a few things I had planned before the Moonlord. So without further ado, let's get straight back into it. Oh yeah, less than 14k left to go, chaps. Ooh. Continuing from last time, we had our highly anticipated jungle boss Blitzkrieg just around the corner.
Alright, what we got money-wise?
Which, after quickly reforging our Hurricane to be even more busted, still required a little bit of prep before the big sweep, with us having plenty of chlorophyte ore and life roots to scavenge first. Which, funnily enough, both weren't going to be as impactful as I originally intended. As with us pivoting fully to Mage now, my plan was to save our chlorophyte to go straight to Spectre Armor after Plantera. And well, as for the life root situation, I have absolutely no idea.
I genuinely don't think life root is spawning in this world.
Like, genuinely, tell me what I've missed here. So I guess, with us having no choice but to soldier on with a puny 400 health, I guess we had no choice but to properly challenge ourselves against Plantera. Who am I kidding? Because honestly, I don't think our defensive situation was going to make any difference. And with us finding a lovely old Plantera bulb conveniently right next to our temple, let's clear some space, just in case, and delete that planty boy.
Plantera.
Which, being brutally honest here, was way more of a threat than I was originally expecting. Like, maybe we're starting to approach the time we should really step down from our high horse. Because our time to kill, although still ludicrous, could soon force us to at least use 1% of brain power during fights.
I may have certainly screwed myself with Featherfall.
Either way though, Plantera was down, and did actually give us another summon weapon which could be upgraded. Yeah, man, it kinda sucks though. We'll have to think about it, because right now, we had more important things to worry about, like the big lad that is Gollum, which after swiftly pillaging through our dungeon and finding the smallest altar room of all time.
Alright, this is our room. Ooh, it's a bit small, isn't it?
Thank God we're OP, let's not waste any more time and defeat the easiest of the two jungle menaces, which by the looks of things would be once again over rather quickly. You do know what though, I've got to give Gollum some credit here, because at least he put up slightly more of a fight than Plantera, requiring me to actually move left and right for about 20 seconds.
It was close again, like that's the thing, we are literally just glass cannoning right now.
Anyway, upon his death, we sadly weren't as fortunate with our bang drops, with the heat ray not only being trash, but unupgradable. So after quickly defeating Gollum for a second time, we got the same bloody thing.
Dude, I've got flipping double heat ray.
Let's move on, shall we? Right, with our next progression steps being the Cultist, Pillars, and therefore Moonlord, it was time to properly gear up, as weirdly our Razorblade Typhoon, although upgraded, was now on level with our progression point. So after spending a good bit of time in our dungeon getting loads of ectoplasm and new potential weapon upgrades, it was finally time to upgrade that damn titanium armor we've been hanging on to for God knows how long. It's nice to finally wear a proper mage set. And speaking of mage, I think I want to stick with it, at least for now, as that decreased mana cost we get from pack-a-punching was just too good to miss. Oh, also, since we did have 4 plat to our name now, I did consider upgrading a few things. But you know, it's about time we dreamt bigger, and I mean a lot bigger.
Why is this upgrade in particular so mid?
As I intended to upgrade a lot more than just 4 weapons before Moonlord. Oh yeah guys, it was time to execute the most requested thing of all time. Here it is, the one and only Crystal Shard Money exploit, which, just to be clear, I would normally definitely not do, but since we just built a complex money farm last series, screw it.
One eternity later.
So, some time had now passed, and money was once again not an issue, so what shall we do with it? Well, to be honest, Although I mentioned upgrading every single weapon in the mod last episode, after further research, only a few selected weapons gain unique buffs and effects. So instead of boring you with all the upgrades nobody cares about, let's take a look at some of the things we could have had in the early game, starting with staffs, which much like in zombies, all have unique little effects. Okay, the Amber Staff in particular would be our first one to try out. So after quickly nipping to the underground desert to collect some fossils,
Even in late game, this biome is hell.
and then extractinating a bunch of ember to craft it, let's bang that thing in the Pack-a-Punch machine and see what it can do. Pretty sweet, right? And probably quite overpowered for when you can obtain it, with its main projectile being replaced by the infamous Molotov cocktail. Perhaps I was a little optimistic over this weapon's performance though, as although I can see it being insane up to the wall of flesh, it was pretty diabolical against hard mode bosses. Anyway, that's just one of the many unique staffs this mod offers, with the remaining craftable gem ones having some pretty interesting functionalities to say the least. So after gathering enough gems to last a lifetime, the Frozen Fury was up, the upgrade to the Sapphire Staff. This thing not only looked pretty cool, but absolutely melted the eye of Cthulhu. And yeah, I know I have a few mage buffs, because things were only going to get more busted from here, with the Howling Gale, the upgrade to the Emerald Staff, basically being a pre-hard mode leaf blower. Oh my god, I've always wanted that. Which once again seemed really strong for how early this thing can be obtained. And so far, we'd only looked at the tamest options, as next up was the Deatomizer, which would break the 100 damage mark, which for a pre-Skeletron weapon is completely insane.
Yeah, this is the most overpowered one yet.
And the best part is, although this looks to be the best pre-hard mode upgrade so far, we can even up that with the Secrum Sempra Staff.
Holy crap!
My god, this thing.
Harry Potter people, is that a Snape spell?
From 24 damage to 135, with just 25 gold, which, yeah, may suffer from a nerfed attack speed, but regardless, I'm pretty sure you'll be one-shotting most pre-hard mode enemies with this thing anyway.
Hang on, this is actually really bad. I kind of need that money back.
So if you're looking at doing a playthrough with this mod, which I'd recommend, I don't see a reason not to get this thing early. Oh, also, last but not least, there was one other weapon upgrade I'd had my eye on for ages now, the Quad Barrel Shotgun, as in my mind, a buff to this thing would pretty much restore it to its former glory pre-nerf. And I think it's safe to say that this version went above and beyond with satisfying my expectations. And holy hell, I bet this thing's fun to use. Alright, that's enough mucking around for now, because we've got a playthrough to finish, so let's head straight on over to our dungeon and commence the Cultist fight. Now, just a few things to note here. One, the Typhoon would have to do a lot of heavy lifting here due to the Cultist's partial immunity to homing, and two, something I only noticed later in editing, I accidentally did this entire fight without my Spectre leggings equipped. So rest in peace our set bonus, I guess. Luckily, however, the rainy weather had just come at the perfect time, meaning regardless of how long the fight took, I could easily dodge most of his attacks. And after a much cleaner fight than expected,
Lovely.
under these circumstances, it was time to crack on with the pillars, and more precisely, the Vortex pillar, as it was finally time for a massive weapon upgrade. And I truly mean massive here, as this might just be one of the best pack-a-punches in the entire mod. Hell yeah. The already insane Vortex Beater was about to get a facelift, with this upgrade potentially giving it the fastest fire rate of any weapon in the game. I mean, just listen to that thing go.
The fire rate, the spread, the chaos.
Oh, and that's not even mentioning the fact each bullet casually deals an extra 25% damage a shot. Yeah, this thing was just a monster, and did require a rapid last-minute switch to the Ranger class, as I wanted to evaporate the Moonlord out of existence. So after spending a bit of time gathering materials for Shroomite and getting a few ranged accessories to scale that weapon damage into orbit, we were by far the most broken we'd been the entire playthrough, with our primary weapon probably not being far off the SDMG now in terms of DPS. And with our final pillar now down, let's brace for the big event, which would only be moments away at this point. Boom, there he is, and yep, You know, I had a picture of
What's
the
our
power of
damage
this
like?
weapon, but I had
Dude.
genuinely no idea I'd kill it
Dude.
this fast. Like, let's be real, this is post-Moonlord levels of damage at this point.
That's all the eyes dead, I think, already, is it?
And really, there isn't much more to say here, because in less than a minute,
Oh, yeah.
again, we had just beaten Terraria.
This thing's flipping insane.
So there it is, folks, another playthrough done, which does now lead me to ask what you guys want to see next. Something a bit more challenging, or another unique mod like this. Also, I'd love to hear if you'd rather see these playthroughs be done in one whole video as opposed to in parts, which is something I do plan to experiment with going forward. Anyway, as always, thanks for watching. This has been sockrteez, and I'll see you in the next one.